We are so high off the ground.
Good morning. Let me tell you about my taco.
I got some best of the best sleep of my life on a wall.
Not convincing. Not convincing.
I got some great sleep. Now we're ready to continue on with our day and go upwards.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yes. I got to join Kyle from High Mountain Gear on a new route that he's developing on a big wall. And he handed me the drill.
I'm at the high point of a new big wall route. Now I'm gonna decide where the anchor is gonna go. That's the high point. I wanna stand on this ledge and I gotta build an anchor somewhere in here. That is the next pitch. So you can see better right there that I don't know how well that's attached. And this way, if he's gonna be climbing that way next, I don't wanna be directly under him. It is a nice, clean, solid ocean of basalt right here. And it's gonna put me off to the left. So when he's jugging, I don't have the bag just right on top of him. It gives a little separation there. What you doing there, Kyle?
I'm getting ready to rig up the taco
Oh yeah?
portal edge. And we're gonna set up the Gordito Stormfly.
Is that the name of it?
Yes, the Gordito. Everything is food related. So you've got your ultra high weight molecular polyethylene dog bone that's bar tacked, which is irrelevant because you should always be tied in directly to the rock. This is not a safety device or a life-saving device.
It's life-saving if it's raining and cold enough.
Yes, yes,
But not for gravity.
So the stuff sack is also the cone. And what I've done is I have like equalizing cord on here that goes through the dog bone. Insert the taco from underneath, figuring out which orientation that you need your taco to be in, which side. The taco fly is asymmetrical. So one side is longer than the other. Gordito Stormfly is made in such a way that it's nearly impossible to mess it up because it's an amorphous shape. It's designed to fit all sizes of pads, right? Between 20 inches wide to 25 inches wide, up to like 3 inches.
Because your air mattress is really going to determine your final shape.
Yeah, the taco itself is already like a little bit curved, right? And then you also have the 20-inch X-Lite Neo Air pads, which are rounded, and that also kind of changes the shape. So these two panels are joined together with your standard tent seam there, double stitched, and it's flat. But like I said, it's asymmetrical. Bottom, you have a lot of these loops, right? And they're just like every 16 inches or so. And you've got these buckles here. They're called gatekeepers. So what you're gonna wanna do is figure out on the ground where you want these, right? So let me show you how they work. You have a Mobius loop, which is a sewn loop. You're gonna girth hitch your loop through whichever loop you think you need.
What is that material?
This is 200D pack cloth. So this is not like a fancy material, okay? This is inexpensive. It weighs approximately 1 pound, 8 ounces, and it's not seam sealed. So you could take this out in the field or up on a wall and just use it the way that it is, but your seams are gonna leak. I'm pretty sure the difference between getting completely soaked and being a little damp, those are two completely different things. So what you can do is go to the store and get seam grip and just paint the inside of all the seams, and that will make your fly waterproof.
Because the material itself is waterproof.
Correct.
You just need to seal up the seams if you want that.
Yeah, I mean the whole point of the taco and the Gordito Stormfly and even the Super Taco, even though it's a little bit more expensive, is that it's affordable. So it gives like first time wall climbers like an opportunity to just like just seam seal your own Stormfly, right?
Yeah.
So you can go to the store and buy a seam grip for what is it, $20, and you can waterproof all kinds of stuff.
Because flies are like $500+ usually.
Yeah, usually
Or
they're
like $800.
I mean, you can't even buy a fly separately for a portaledge outside of Black Diamond, right?
Yeah, most portaledges, you have a hell of a time finding a fly for them.
Yeah, if you want your portaledge made not in China, then you have to buy the whole system together these days. They don't even bother like making flies separate of portaledges.
Yeah.
So they want to be able to like make a certain number and sell a certain number. I've made flies for portaledges for sale, and it's incredibly difficult because portaledges have been manufactured by like basically people in their garage, legit companies, because you know I operate out of a garage.
Yeah.
And they just change stuff. They're like, I want to make my ledge, 2 inches smaller, or I want to make it like a little bit bigger, or like the drop height is different, or the webbing suspension is different. And then like the fly like won't work in all of the different orientations. So that's why they're selling that. They don't want to sell their flies separately, but I do, because the taco has remained like it's been the same basic concept and the same basic shape for like a couple years now, and it's not going anywhere.
And it's a flexible enough system.
Yeah,
You've made your fly flexible to work with the different shapes your pad's going to end up making it.
yeah. The reason why the drop height of the taco is so long is because the longer the triangle is, the less force pushing in on the sides of the taco. So that's kind of why the length is the way that it is because most anchors are kind of at the right length for the taco, but sometimes you got to shorten it up. So you want to put the pad inside the taco before you leave the ground, because putting the pad inside the taco on a vertical wall is terrible.
Yeah,
It's absolutely terrible. I've told people they need to do it. They don't listen. And then they're like, I don't even know how to set this up. That's always how it happens. I'm like, come climbing with me, or let's go climbing and you can use taco. They're like, I don't really want to put the pad in there. I was like, you don't even know how it works. I was like, you need to put the pad in first. Young Camus, he has a taco with a roller cam buckle, and I just don't find that the weight in bulk is justified. So I keep shipping them out with the stainless steel slider buckles. The benefit is that it weighs almost nothing, and it's as strong as the roller cam buckle. The downside is it's kind of difficult to like really cinch up, but it's only one buckle. You only need to do it like once, like a micro adjustment, and then you're done.
So you put both sides on the same carabiner.
Yeah, head is where the label is. I'm using a Nemo Quasar 3D long wide, 3 inches thick, 25 wide, and like 76 long, which is the maximum I would suggest that you use. The geometry of the taco is such that like it's at its maximum like length of 76 for the drop height. So if you wanted it longer, I would have to make the entire thing longer and the drop height longer, if that makes sense. So people who are about 6 feet tall are going to have their feet sticking out a little bit, but that's
You're also trying to not just keep it cheap, you're trying to keep it light.
yeah. If you just start like, oh, we'll just make it to where your feet don't hang out, and I was like, okay, well then I change everything and add like 4 ounces, and I was like, well then I should add pockets. There are no pockets on here. We're not putting pockets on.
Yeah, we
Pockets add weight.
plenty of bags.
You got bags. You got bags. That's the screw cannon too. I didn't forgot about that one. All right. So the idea is that you kind of get this thing like 70, 80% inflated. Kind of tuck this into the head. Okay. Tucked in there.
You're not trying to do 100%, right?
No, I'm just trying to like, because if you blow it up all the way and then don't have it adjusted, then it's harder to release buckles than it is to tension them. You don't want to crank certain parts of the taco to infinity. Like making it super duper tight will maybe make it like a little bit like flatter, but then you're also going to be like stressing parts of the pad, the actual pad, and then parts of the taco. You can't get a flat surface by tensioning the pad. You have to use these parts. So Jan Camus wanted me to add these, and he has a specific suspension system where he adds like a spreader bar between these 2 points, and he has like little bits of cord that goes down and basically pulls the center up on both sides. On the bottom you have a sleeve, so if you need a little bit more tension, you can actually take the strap off and pass it through this loop. That'll give you a little bit more tension, but you need to be careful when you get in the taco that you don't put your feet on this and just like kick out. The idea is that you put your feet on the taco, pull up on these, and kind of readjust yourself. And once you're like further in, it's more like you can like scoot yourself in. So the benefit is that it's all, it's an ultralight system and it's modular. The downside is that it does have parts that are more fragile. But I've only ever seen someone get in the taco one time and rip that thing. I've never heard anyone else doing it, and I didn't give him like any instructions. I was just like, have a seat. And he just like shoved his feet through the bottom of it. And I was like, well, there we go. I think people need like a little bit of a heads up. Another benefit to doing this completely on the ground is that you don't have to do any adjustments. You just deflate the pad and then you just reinflate it. And then you never have to do any of these adjustments like what I'm doing. But as it seems, everybody just is like, well, we'll figure it out when we get up there.
It's how everyone does it.
They're just like, it's fine. We'll figure it out. And here we are, a slightly awkward anchor kind of pushing me out with all this junk. So you have these straps that are actually pulling the sides. And for this length of pad, you need to have an extender. So this piece is actually separate from this piece. So you just need to adjust it so that way it's taut. So I'm gonna take a guess as to where it needs to go. There we go. And then once you get your taco adjusted properly, you can actually go through and double back all your buckles, and that'll make sure that your adjustments stay where they're supposed to stay. Yeah, don't go crazy on blowing it up. And then suck that corner back in here. All right, so I am tied into the anchor, backed up, and I have my gree-gree on, right? So that's how I'm gonna kind of finagle into the taco.
And where's the end of that rope? Is that just a knotted end, or is it?
So I'm tied into the end of the rope. Normally, when you're actually bivvying, you're only gonna have like enough to where you're sleeping, rolling on both sides, moving around, pooping. You need to go down below the ledge to unfix a rope or something.
Yeah, so 10 feet of rope.
Typically 10 feet more than where you're at, right? And then you just put your gree-gree on, and if something catastrophic happens, you're still tied into the rope. You always want to be tied into the rope. So you get in it like a chair, okay? You just sit. But what's nice is that if you're in this orientation and you're at this anchor, I just will swing over top of the taco and just wrap into it, like just flat, right? And then you don't have to like do any like scooching in from the side, right? So that's how I do it. Get situated. Around. Very graceful.
I'm kind of jealous right now.
Because you've been standing.
I'm still in my 8ers.
You have a, oh Jesus. This side needs to go up a little bit. So you can pull the adjustment strap, but you kind of need to take like a little bit of weight off. So this buckle doesn't release easily. Okay, you have to go up there and get completely out of the taco to release it.
Okay.
So I would much rather do little micro bumps. Then you can also kind of move around in the taco to find kind of like an optimal space depending on like your body geometry. You want to have your shoulder kind of in this hole here, which is why the taco is made. It's made in a rectangle, so that way you have space for your shoulder to come out. And now my shoulder is like completely open instead of being like right next to this thing. So at this point, I'm gonna get out. We're gonna set up the Gordito Stormfly. Once again, this is a standalone dog bone. This vent is open, so that way you can get ventilation, right? If you have like a big windstorm, you can take like a cam or a quick draw or something, kind of cinch this up and just put a quick draw or some weight on the end of it, and that'll kind of close up your system. So if you got precipitation blowing up into the cap, you know, you can kind of cinch this down. Other cones, they like don't have any adjustability. They're just cones, just open. Maybe I want it closed. Finger in. Okay. And then you can safety off your taco, so that way you don't drop it while you're doing something weird. Or you can just go for it. You know, live dangerously, right? Kind of sticking my hands into the deep. Actually, my leg is in it. Okay. See, I know you can't really see what I'm doing here. Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna
Clip the dog bone, right?
Yep. And there's other bits of webbing in there. So take your Stormfly and just drape it over the taco, trying to keep it square at the top. The seams are on the corners. So if you have a rounded pad in like a 72 inch, your seams are going to be straight on. I got my gatekeeper and my Mobius loop. I'm going to go at 2 opposing points and then pass the buckle through another loop. So I can tuck in and then pull those 2 parts together. And then you also have a cinch that goes around the entire bottom. It's not just the buckles, it's also the cinch. So you can actually set this up like beforehand, kind of lightly tensioned. So that way after you get in, you'll hit the cinch and then you can pull these 2 tight and you'll be completely captured underneath. And if you need to get out of the taco immediately, there's actually enough like slop in the bottom. You can actually just like push it out or just release the cinch, and that will be enough to release like one side. There you go. And then pass the buckle through this one. Okay. All right, so I'm set up on this side, set up on the other end. I'm gonna get back in the taco. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna kind of tuck this down and around everything.
You're stealth. You would never be able to see yourself up here. So if you seal the seams, you're saying that'll keep the water out.
So pack cloth typically has a waterproofness rating of approximately 1200 to 1500 hydrostatic head. That is technically waterproof, okay? The taco or the Gordito Stormfly is not like an expedition fly. You don't really want to go like, hey, it's gonna rain for 3 days, a torrential downpour. Let's go halfway up El Cap and then like weather the storm. This is like, kind of like your space blanket. A little bit nicer than a space blanket, right? You're like, it kind of might rain, but you don't really want to go up there out on a climb without having something, right? So the thing is really lightweight, it's inexpensive, and if you need it, yes, it's going to keep you dry. But if you go out into a monsoon in a water streak, it's not going to be a good time, right? Why would you go big walling in a monsoon. Okay, well then you might want to try to find a portaledge that has a little bit more room for you to move around and stay completely dry, which, by the way, you don't. So all of these urethane coated fabrics, they break down and then your stuff's not waterproof anymore. Polyurethane is inexpensive, and for a portaledge fly that's already niche, and people are making them in their, like I say, their garages or their shops. To manufacture things domestically is really expensive. They're giving you a really, really, really burly fabric that's good for a really long time, right? But people don't even use their storm flies. They just carry them around. Some people do use their storm flies. I'm not going to say that everybody doesn't use their storm flies and people shouldn't carry them. What I'm saying is that you should go climb whatever it is that you're going to climb. Be cognizant of the weather and don't go out when there's a 3-day storm coming, or bail if the weather changes and you're like, oh, it was 30% rain like one afternoon, but now it's like 2 full days of rain. Well, then you should probably bail or climb faster. So 1500 hydrostatic head is just enough to be waterproof. It's fine. Like, you're not gonna spend 5 days in a taco and a stormfly. You'll go crazy, right? It's cozy in here, but cozy isn't like super duper comfortable. 1.5 pounds for the fly and about 2 pounds for the taco. You're at 3.5 pounds for a system that you can have a pretty high level of security in the event that you do get involved in like some precipitation, or like there's just a freak thunderstorm. You're gonna be okay. And then obviously you add the weight of the pad. This pad is super heavy. I think it's like, I don't know, 2 pounds or something, but it's really comfortable.
But I find I need a pad on a normal portaledge anyways, just to give me some insulation between me and the air.
Yeah,
You could go with foam, but it's still, you can't just sleep on a cloth portaledge, on a rigid frame portaledge.
I've done that.
I've done it. I'm never gonna do it again.
I don't think I've ever
slept
with a pad.
I take an air mattress on my normal framed ledges.
Huh.
And so that's why these are so intriguing to me, because I already bring the pad.
Yeah. And the benefit is that the pad still provides insulation, right? Unlike a hammock.
Yeah,
You know?
that's the main benefit for, like, especially tonight. It's so cold.
Yeah.
It's already cold.
I do not need a 6,000 meter storm fly on, a grade 5 wall, unless I'm doing it in winter and I'm doing something stupid, in which case, stupid is fun, but you need to know what you're doing. You can't just like go out there and do something stupid.
Don't be stupid and do it.
Yeah.
Do stupid stuff smartly. Recliner mode.
Just chilling. You see my feet are just down here relaxing.
Well, it does look pretty cozy.
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to, like, I don't know, it was like, we're climbing a first ascent in the Cascades, and there was like a drip. So it wasn't cold though, so it would have been nice to just like, tuck this over myself and just chill in here while we're like resting for the day. Yeah. But not like be fully enclosed. But with it so cold like this out here, it's actually pretty comfortable. Kind of a windbreak.
So I'm super jealous of where he's sitting, because I'm just standing here in my aiders for however long I've been filming this. So I want to go sit in this thing now.
So I did my best to stay as warm as possible while Kyle was continuing up the wall. We do carry Kyle's High Mountain Gear product line, including the Fly and the Gordito. I definitely recommend checking out Jan Camus' video on the taco, as he has hacked making that thing as comfortable as possible. Be sure to check out the Big Wall Bible, where we've got more tips and tricks, and an entire video on the G7 portaledge that we also carry now. Thanks for watching.